Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folang. Hope you had a restful weekend. Now to begin the week, it's a special week in the sense that it's the beginning of the week. It's also the beginning of the month, and everybody's been saying Happy New Month, 1st of December. Okay, now the big news last week was by the end of last week was the president's ambassadorial nominees have been sent to the president, who have been sent to the Senate, I beg your pardon, for confirmation of the Senate. And this was just days after he made the first batch of just 3 names. 15 career and 17 non-career ambassadors is what Mr. President is now looking for the senators to, grant approval in an expeditious manner. Our guest this morning is Mr. Ken Okolugbo. He's a political affairs analyst, among other things. Good morning, Ken. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Uncle Yori.
It's always our pleasure, sir. Now, well, this is shall we say, the 3rd year of the president, and this is a matter that hasn't received, no, I shouldn't say hasn't received attention, but we didn't know. The president had just left the matter. Apparently, they were working on it behind the scenes. As we speak, you probably are aware that our ambassadors, our embassies have not been peopled with the right staff. But now Mr. President looks to be getting closer to that objective. 17 non-career and 15 career. Although I was hearing that we have in the region of over 100, maybe 120, if not 150 embassies around the world. So it means that there are a lot more to come if all we can account for now would be 35. But give me your impression, because we want to look at the nomination by Mr. President of these candidates, and reactions have been following. What was your reaction when you heard?
Well, no doubt, there's been a lot of complaints over the delay in the release of the ambassadorial list, and
yes.
It's about 2 years, 8 months down the line into the life of this administration, or will you say maybe a little over 2.5 years down the line in the life of the administration. Basically, one would have expected that it would have been done earlier now in terms of the ambassadorial list. But like the saying goes, it's better late than never.
Perhaps there was no money.
The agitation has been such.
Perhaps there was no money. Perhaps there was no money. These things cost money.
Okay, perhaps that there was no money. You will not know you've heard of cases where there were embassies that they couldn't even pay their light bill, and they were cut off from electricity, and there was no power. I remember the former ambassador to Spain, who is now the Minister of State, Bianca Ono, complained of how she had to stay in a hotel because the residence was completely dilapidated to work in the office and all that. Yes, these challenges would always come, but the important thing that ambassadors do is that they are the representative of the president in any country. And so the cry for ambassadors started because of mainly the fact that there have been no ambassador to the United States of America, to the United Kingdom, and especially to these countries where we need to look forward towards assistance, look forward towards cooperation, and look forward towards a relationship, an enduring relationship. But then the president has now released the list. Nigerians are also crying about the list. They are the same ones that first complained that there was no ambassadors and that the president was sleeping on duty in the area of ambassadorial nominees. But so no matter how you look at it, it's about 109 countries that has permanent ambassadors.
109.
Then the other countries, the other countries could be high commissioners or your lower cadre kind of representation. So if he has done 35 out of 109, he released 3 first to the Senate, which had the former director of SSS, Are, and the former Director General of the NIA, and the others. Then he now released this one that is raising all the dust. Some are already even saying that my state was not represented. If you have 109 ambassadors and just 35 was released, why not wait until the president finishes all his appointments before you now start, complaining about my state not being represented, or this person was not carried, the career ambassadors have not, populated the list. If out of 35, in my own opinion as an analyst, 15 career ambassadors and about 20 are non-career ambassadors, it's a fair ratio moving forward, because we must also be realistic. There is no way you will not appoint politicians who have the requisite experience as ambassadors. If you look at the United States of America, for example, Waltz today, who is the ambassador of the United States of America to the United Nations, was a national security advisor. And if you remember, Uncle Yori, when they had that leak during the war chats, in the war chat room, and the leak came from his WhatsApp phone, there was a lot of hue and cry. And although he was one person that supported President Trump so much, and President Trump had so much confidence in him, he had to remove him as a national security advisor. But he compensated him with being the ambassador of the United States of America to the United Nations. If it was in Nigeria that happened, all hell will break loose, you understand? So it shows you that, look, in everything, a lot of politics is played. Nikki Haley, you remember, was a governor under Trump, who left as a governor to become the ambassador of America to the United States, to the United Nations. So career ambassadors everywhere. In Obasanjo's time, Obasanjo had a lot of ambassadors who were politicians. We also have retired judges, just like Justice Oguntade, an erudite former Justice of the Supreme Court, who Buhari appointed the ambassador of the United Kingdom. And you also remember that it is not cast in stone that some of these ambassadors will not also reject the nomination. For example, if you remember the time of Buhari's nomination, if I remember well, Usman Bugaje rejected his nomination, and I think the former deputy governor of Plateau also did reject her nomination. So it is not a case of, whether I'm qualified or I'm not qualified. It's the conviction. But if the president deems it fit, it is his prerogative to say, look, you are the person I want to represent me in this country. I don't know why people want to rob him of that power. They should allow the fact that if this will have not been convicted, if they've gone through security screening, then let us see how they will fare during the Senate screening.
Thank you very much, Ken. When people, of course, they have a right to voice their opinions, but I'm happy you just put that in there. The one thing that everybody has to understand is that it's the prerogative of the president. And the mere fact that a person doesn't agree, I think that's what's happening here. There's been much commentary, and I dare say that not all of it has been wholesome. And it seems to me that what they've done, those people who are dealing in unwholesome commentary, it's their personal convictions, opinions about certain individuals that they are now pushing and wondering why the president didn't factor in on their behalf. Not that the president would know them by name, but why was the president not thinking like this? Well, that's because he's the president, and it's his duty, his prerogative, and not those who are criticizing now. But you said something that, when you said that in times past, we've actually had a situation where some people have declined to take up the appointments offered to them. I wonder how that happens. I just hope it doesn't happen this time around. I wonder how that happens, by which I mean that surely all of this, the president and his men have come up with the list, and it's now been sent to the Senate, president to the Senate. Isn't there a way to get in touch with these people so we know, so that rather than be declining after the announcement, you'd have told them that you are not actually in a position to take it up, even though you might very much appreciate the gesture. I wonder why we don't go up to that level.
I think selecting 109 people is not very easy. It might sound, the figure, might look infinitesimal compared to a population of 200 million. So in your wisdom, if the security agencies can do a check without having to contact the person, and you find the person, that this person is worthy of this appointment, I might likely just say, look, I will make that nomination. And it depends on if the person wants to take up the appointment or not take up the appointment. For example, when I was made a commissioner, I'm always grateful to my governor. I didn't have an idea I was going to be made a commissioner in Delta State. So it actually does happen, you know. So it's that conviction that matters. Okay, for example, look at Ondo, Senator Jimo Ibrahim. Some will say, oh, why are you removing a sitting senator to become an ambassador? Why you are now going to make INEC, you know, cost an election to replace him? But you see, the wealth of experience that Senator Jimo Ibrahim brings, for example, you know, having with his credentials, imagine if someone like that is sent to the United Nations as our ambassador, or to the United States of America as our ambassador. So those are the things the president will be looking at. The president will not be looking at the sentiments that he's a sitting senator. He's looking at what gains he's going to actually get from the wealth of experience of this person, from the relationship this person will be able to build. Because you see, one of the things you must agree is that the media, I'm not condemning the media team of the president, but media-wise, the president has been very good when he was in the opposition. But as the sitting president, he needs to do a whole lot of strategy work in terms of his team, because they have not been able to sell this narrative outside Nigeria, even within Nigeria. And so a lot of people do not appreciate a lot of the things the president has done, which is why he's been so vilified. Like in the positioning of this issue of ambassadorial list, yes, some do not even realize that it's his prerogative. Some do not even realize that, look, the president would have taken these much decisions before he decided to name these people. It shouldn't be the people defending themselves. It should be the president's team selling it to Nigerians, why the president has decided that, look, these are the people he has confidence in. And being able to also make it clear to the senators who they will have to lobby to ensure that none of the nominees are rejected. Because if the nominees are rejected, it is also a minus to the presidency. So sometimes you might not have to contact, but you might look at the CV of the person, the resume of the person, what the person can bring to bear, and the peace you're also going to have in that country, and with the relationship of that country. And in the world community, what impression are you going to give? Per se. Yeah. That's why I use the Senator Jimo Ibrahim as an example, who will be a square peg in a square hole if you send him to such a position. Looking at what he has also done in the Senate, and also the chairman of the Interparliamentary Union, and you know, his resume basically. If you also look at Are, the former DG, I'm even shocked that he will come out of retirement. But it is obvious that, look, at this point in time, we need a clarion call for those who have experience, or the other DG of Nigerian Intelligence Agency. You can't take it away from those people. Those are people that have gone, they've seen it all. They have so much experience in terms of, you know, relationship with foreign countries and foreign nations. And so they also bring their weight of experience. That's not to say that somebody described the list today. I was listening to one of your sister stations. Somebody described the list today as the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, of course, there will always be those you. Can you imagine? I remember that film we watched in those days. Yeah. Okay. Tell you what, Kim, I remember that.
Mr. George, good morning. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Uncle Yori, and good morning to Mr. Kolubo.
Okay.
Uncle Yori,
good morning.
Everything that the president does now, you see everybody crying this and crying that. These are the same people who have been saying the president is not appointing ambassadors. Now he's appointing ambassadors. You see attacks here and there. Well, that is to be expected, judging from the kind of political climate that has developed in our country. But, Uncle Yori, I made an observation. These mob, the ones they are attacking on the list, are the very ones that are really very fit for the job. Just think about that. Anybody that wishes us well in this country cannot say, Femi Fani-Kayode, Ben of Mokri, that's a senator from Ondo State, and quite a number of them that they cannot do that job. Who else can do it if these people cannot do it? the president should not just listen to any of them. He should go ahead with his list that he has produced and post them accordingly. If you give me a chance to make a suggestion, I would say Renan Mokri should be posted to the U.S. He is the type of person that can face Donald Trump. Who knows Donald Trump more than Donald Trump himself?
Okay.
So we should allow these people to do what the assignment that has been given to them, rather than the people that are criticizing. Are they even better than the ones that are criticizing? I beg. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in. I think this is what Ken said earlier: different strokes for different folks, or something like that. Because people have the impression. Sorry.
Well, you see, the thing about it is that everybody would always have their impression. I was joking with somebody over the weekend, when I said, he said he was playing a video and was showing me. I was very angry on the nomination of, I think, the man that your caller mentioned, Reno, and was like, this was the man that referred to the president as a drug lord and swore he would never take an appointment under the presidency of Tinubu. And I talked about Saul. Saul was on the way. I'm not comparing Reno to Saul, please, by any standard. But Saul was on the way to go and Saul was on the way to go and kill Christians, and was on the road of Damascus. He was blinded, and it was an intervention by Jesus Christ. And remember, Ananias went and healed him after 3 days of blindness, and when he started seeing, he was renamed Paul and became a disciple of Christ. Where he was not laughing about it. That's why I'm not in any way comparing that situation. But what I'm trying to say is that I must think that the president has a large heart. You understand? Because if I'm the president and I have seen someone who had gotten to that extreme, I was a very big critic of Buhari. You know that, Uncle Yori, and you know how many times you had me on your program. For someone like me, I would never have served under Buhari. Do you understand? And even when I left the PDP in 2022, I didn't join the APC because I did not believe in the ideals of a lot of things that were going on in the APC. One of the reasons I have decided to switch now is mainly because of what I have seen in the government of Tinubu. That doesn't mean I will not still speak as a political analyst and my principal, Godswill Akpabio, but that is off the cuff. That does not mean that if someone says tomorrow that, look, I have seen Tinubu's government, I have seen that all the criticism I have criticized the government, he actually does mean well. We have seen that the security situation in the country is something that we need to take seriously. We are at the lowest ebb at this material point in time, but we can rise above it. But I have seen a lot of his policies, and I want to embrace the government. And Tinubu says, I can forgive. Because it wasn't you that is shouting Renan Mokri that he called a drug lord. It was Tinubu he called a drug lord. So are you not going to cry more than the bereaved? Are you the outsider cry more than the bereaved? If the man says, look, I'm looking at the good qualities in you, just like Bosu, is it Bosu Tijani? I can't remember his name now, the Minister of Innovation, or I'm not sure yet, who they brought all the tweets he had sent in the past when he was nominated, but was still passed by the Senate after a lot of questioning. I don't think people should rather see the president as one who has a large heart.
Indeed.
Because a lot of them will never do it. They will never even have anything to do with a Reno.
You're right. 1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
I'll come back to you because Ade in the UK has called in. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Good morning, Mr. Yori, and good morning to my brother there, Kenneth.
Okay, please go ahead now.
Good morning.
My view about this is that I said it on one TV this morning. There is nothing wrong with the list, but it's up to the Senate. They represent us. If the Senate say they are okay, they are okay. So if they say they are not okay, they are not okay. Because we elected them to decide for us on something like this issue. So all of them, I cannot say much about them because if the president does not see that they are qualified, we will not nominate them. My own appeal to President is that Senator Jim Ibrahim, let him give us in UK. We want him in UK to be UK ambassador. So, and I said it on the television this morning, on one of the televisions, that Nigeria should be worried about Malami, that EFCC have someone to come and account for $490 million. They should worry about that, not about this
But wait, even the EFCC has.
So,
okay, I didn't want to speak over you. I didn't want to speak over you. Okay, but even the EFCC has.
Okay, we've lost him. Okay.
Yes, we lost it. The EFCC has since said that he has no case to answer. You know, but
Malami.
Please go on.
He said Malami. He said Malami.
Okay.
Malami, he said, if I got him right. You see, he's asking for Senator Jimoh Ibrahim for the UK. But if you ask me my own opinion, I would say Senator Jimoh Ibrahim will best fit as our ambassador to the United Nations or to the United States of America, given his experience. Initially, I wrote a piece that, without knowing that he was going to be nominated, I was writing a piece that I was on the dinner table with my boss, the Senate President, and incidentally, Senator Jimoh Ibrahim came in. And that day, he was very agitated. Even when he was asked to eat, he said no, he was not eating. That was sometime in May or sometime in April, I think May, early May. And he said, look, the situation in the country is such that we must do something about the security situation. I have a motion I'm going to take on the floor of the Senate. It has to do with the security situation in the country. And if I take this motion, Mr. President, I want this motion passed immediately, and I want you to set up committees so that we can, and true to it, you know, from that dinner table, the next day he took the motion, you know, members of the Senate were put in different zonal committees. You might say they did not push as much as some Nigerians will say, oh, if it was in May, he said that, why are they waiting now to conclude zonal hearings? It is difficult for logistics to be put together, but the zonal hearings have been concluded and they're having the main hearing. Why do I also say this? You know, it was the United States Senator Ted Cruz that actually engineered President Trump in designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And so some have said that, oh, the Senate is sleeping. Why is it that it's the Senate in America that is looking at the killings in Nigeria? But why we don't say it's a Christian genocide, because Christians and Muslims are being killed, but no doubt Christians have been killed more than the Muslims. But we do not term it as a genocide because we see it as a very serious situation at hand where citizens are actually being killed. We're looking at a situation where the Senate had already started the move here in Nigeria. But you know, we embrace international response more than national response. So that is the kind of person, that was the prism I saw Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. I didn't even know the president was going to nominate him as one of his ambassadorial nominees. I was quite shocked. Even after I wrote that piece, which I think was in Telegraph, Daily Post, Punch, Nation, and others, they carried it. I saw that nomination. So it's on that prism I said, you can't just throw away the baby and the bathwater if you say some of the nominees does not meet your criteria. And what are they saying? Like Femi Fani-Kayode, who has been a former special advisor, has been a minister of aviation. Yes, they try to play a video of his condemnation of a journalist, and you know, using some words that most likely they would not appreciate. Everybody has their temperament. That doesn't mean that he's not a good person to become an ambassador. And if President Tinubu thought it wise to say, look, I've recognized this man who since have left his former party from the time of Buhari, have supported me all through up until this position to go and represent us. I mean, let's call it spade a spade. Like I said, there's 109, you know,
there are many more to come.
If just 35 has come, let's not castigate the president yet. Let's wait and see how many more people are going to come.
But as you probably are aware, the president, you know, it's not that he will say, I no send anybody, but the president, he's done what he's done, and he's waiting for the Senate to respond, and then they'll take it from there. Because for those who have issues with the names that Mr. President has sort of come up with in this second tranche to make 35, they need to remember that it's not a done deal yet. Maybe not all of them will be accepted by the Senate. And if that is the case...
In fact, sorry, Uncle Yori, for even interrupting. Even if the Senate passes all of them, they can also be rejected by the country they are posted to. So
Of course.
it's not even a done deal yet,
Of
like you
course.
rightly said. So there are two levels of screening, and the Senate has also not done its screening yet. So they also have an opportunity to write petitions if they know them to be of. I think the only thing that can really disqualify these people is if they've been criminally convicted, or they are of unsound mind, or they are not fit. Remember the old man, I'm trying to remember his name now, the retired judge who came before the former Senate, and everybody was complaining about his age until there was a lot of back and forth. Is it Justice Sylvanus, if I remember well? If I remember if that is his name. But remember, he was over 80, and he was told to recite the national anthem or pledge or so, and the Senate felt he was arrogant about it, and he was rejected. There are many reasons why this bill can still be rejected. You understand? So let's us just wait. Let's not put the cart before the horse.
Okay.
And just come with a generalization. Do you understand? That
Indeed.
it has been passed through. But the president has found them worthy. And I think before the president would have presented their names, he would have had the security clearance. That's I'm sure.
Yes.
There's no way
I want to hope so too.
Tinubu would present those names without having gotten security clearance.
I want to hope so too.
People.
But you remember that there was the unfortunate scenario where, I think when they were thinking about the prerogative of mercy, and some names came up, and when there was this response from the public that you have spoken about this morning in a different context, the president took another look at it, and amendments were made. So
a whole lot of people were removed.
Exactly.
Yes. No, but I think the prerogative of mercy list is usually different from the ambassadorial list. But I also think the president should have punished some people for that prerogative of mercy list.
Because exactly.
If you don't punish some people, you put in such committees who cause an embarrassment to your government. It sends a wrong signal that you can condone anything. Because you don't expect the president. Look, there are over 4,000 appointments to be made. There are over how many thousands of decisions to be made. He's not even a computer. Even computers also make mistakes.
There are assistants.
People that are put in such positions that cause him such embarrassment. There should be a penalty for it. You must be able to be sure. You must be able to be. Yes, that's the absolute truth. Because
you're right.
At least let's also give it to President Tinubu. He's one man that does not shy away from saying from saying sorry, or when he makes a mistake, from going back and correcting himself.
Okay.
He does it without thinking twice.
Okay.
And there are a lot of instances he has also done that.
Indeed. And as we were saying just before we went on break, they will look at it, hopefully approve all of them. That must have been what the president wants. But again, it is the prerogative of the Senate to approve as they see fit. So they might not, although it's going to be, it will be surprising. But it is entirely within the realms of possibility that Senate might say, we have issues with this or that. So there's that. For those who are, quarreling, as it were, that how come X was on that list? How come Z was on that list? But talking about that, this particular one, by the way, it needs to be said that thank you very much when you said, Ken, that this is just, there are so many appointments that are yet to be made. But even then, there are four women on the career ambassadors list and 6 women on the non-career list. So the president was definitely looking at how to, disperse or distribute these appointments. It can't. Not with a number like 32. It can't go all over the country, but then there's much more opportunity. And I think the president did say, when some people were complaining, loyalists were complaining, that, look, we know how it worked and we haven't seen anything. We've been left out in the cold. And I think the president was encouraging at the time in responding that, look, there are so many more appointments to be made, but we have to be patient. It's just that the president probably didn't want to major on that from the beginning. But he has said, and this has been, let me bring this one to you, Ken. This is what some people have been saying online, that, you see, he's now dispensing political favors. Wait a minute. Of course. You can't take that away from the list. But if the president doesn't do some political favors, why is he a politician?
Erelu Adebayo, for example, the wife of the former governor of Ekiti State, is she not qualified? There would have been sentiments in making an appointment of Florence Ajimobi, the wife of the late governor. Is she not qualified? Let's also call a spade a spade. Those that keep saying, let us remove political sentiment. Everywhere in the world, appointments are made on some are made on political sentiments. That's why people work for you during elections. They work for you because they are hoping to get some sort of political patronage. So let's call a spade on Kuyori. Why do we like to, live in self-denial?
Well,
if he looks at Oyo State and the fact that the former governor's wife, who was a member of the APC, who probably is still a member of APC, and who has done well supporting her husband and believes that Florence Ajimobi is qualified, should he not give Florence Ajimobi that opportunity? What we should say at this material point in time is, let us see their performance. In some of the countries that they will send them to, might not be one that you can hear so much about them, but they also need to tell their story. They always say that nobody can tell your story better than you. Do you understand? And so it will also be telling us what they are doing in those countries. You will always be hearing reports, especially to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who is the supervising ministry, that these people are representing us well in those countries. That is what matters most. But like you rightly said, there are 4 career ambassadors. We wish that there will be more career ambassadors in the list that is going to come next. Mm-hmm. But we still have to also settle those who have supported us politically. When I mean settled us, I'm putting myself in the position of the president. A lot of them are still complaining. And so when you find a position where you can fit them in, why do you want to now crucify the man? Did he put himself there?
Exactly.
The people put him there, but there were people that worked for the process for him to get there. That's the absolute truth.
I'm sure people would have been scrutinizing the lists. There's Professor Nora Ladi Dadut, a former senator from Plateau State. There's Femi Pedro, Otumba Femi Pedro, the deputy governor, a one-time deputy governor of
the former
Lagos.
Deputy governor of Lagos State.
Yes, of
but
Lagos
you also
State.
forget that Otumba Femi Pedro was someone that also had issues with President Tinubu.
Exactly.
Who was even impeached, if my facts are right. So what he tells you is that Tinubu is a type that does not take things personal. And I give that to him. It's a huge plus. He has a large heart. He doesn't have the kind of... I even think, for me as a politician, we put councillors in position, and when they betray us, we're almost dying. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I'm
You're
telling
very, very right.
Truth. Those ordinary councillors here, you want to
Exactly.
die. They talk of when you give people political powers, help them become governors, help them become ministers, help them become Senate president, help them become... speakers of the house. Mm-hmm. And it's only natural, that when people do this, some people are never forgiven. They should rather give it to President. I give it to him. I'm telling you, I don't know where he gets
Mr. President
from. But
Mr. President is different.
I give that to him.
Regard.
He has distinguished himself in that regard. It's very difficult. Very difficult. Let's be realistic about it.
No, there's no getting around it. President Tinubu is a different kind of a person. The kind of things that have been said in the past, the man has this facility for not looking there and not looking back and looking ahead, looking forward. So this has surprised a lot of people, and he continues to do it again and again. You made
yes, and another thing, it should be a pointer to people that we should be careful of what we say. Or what we are convinced about. Mm-hmm. Even if we say Tinubu is someone that overlooks it, your integrity also comes to bear. You understand? Your personnel also comes to bear. Because when you have sworn that you will never serve in a government, when you have taken a vow, and the next thing, Nigerians they will drag you.
Of course.
And this is the age of social media where everybody is a publisher. Uncle Yori, you know that. Somebody came on my DM on my Twitter at Kenny Okolugbo. Another person came on my Facebook. My Facebook name is Ken Plaza. I know you will start asking me why, but for some reason that's the name I answer on Facebook, Ken Plaza. And they started condemning my principal. Do you understand? They came in my inbox. Oh, Ken, this is not you. This is not how you used to do. How can you say what is this? What is that? What is this? But one thing you cannot take away from me is that I'm not saying I'm a saint. I will not go and reap from where I did not sow. Are you understanding? I'll bring in my personality to bear, And I will always stick to the facts that I have said. People are quite different, but people should be mindful, because when you pronounce on certain things, it will surely come back to haunt you. Do you understand? Renan Mokri has supported the president quite well, you know, in the last couple of let's say 1 or 2 years. But when you have taken something to the extreme before, you give room to be dragged the way you are being dragged. And a lot of people who even believe in the president would not be happy. Are you understanding?
Indeed.
They will say there were supporters from Delta State. Where are the supporters who supported President Tinubu from Delta State? Why is Renan Mokri taking their slot? So certainly, I'm sure the president also knows this. He's been on the other side too. So he should also know that this criticism will definitely come. I am looking at this as a political analyst this morning, and they are also very right in making those condemnations, because you just can't say one thing and in another breath you say another thing. There must be some kind of consistency. But having said that, like I said, you know, people change, and the only person that has every right now to cry is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So don't cry more than him. You can't be the outsider, cry more than the bereaved.
Indeed. You've spoken about Femi Fani-Kayode, former aviation minister. And then I noticed from Anambra, there's a barrister, Nkechi Linda Ufochukwu. You know, these are people that are on the nomination list.
Who is barrister Linda Kechi? Is that the one from Abia State?
No, that's the one from Anambra State. On the first lady, well, I think there's
for 8 years, I didn't do anything. I really don't know much about him or about Abia State. But these two people lost their elections. They lost their senatorial seat, and that was because they were supporting a southern presidency.
indeed.
If the president says, look, these were the G5 who teamed up with Wike to say, look, they're going to support a southern presidency against their party. I did not think it was right, because that was anti-party, but I had left the PDP. I chose to leave. I left on the 6th of June 2022. Some stayed and worked against the party. I wasn't going to do that same thing, although I'm a small fry compared to these people. Do you understand? So if they stayed and said, look, we're going to work for the southern presidency, and he says, I'm going to now compensate them with ambassadorial positions. This is even after 2.5 years after leaving office. I don't see why also there should be a hue and cry about it. Let's see if there are encumbrances, if they are being investigated by the EFCC, and if they have been convicted. It's not even enough for you to be investigated by EFCC. You must have been convicted for you to now say this person is not qualified. So all these are the pitfalls that can be in place when they are being screened. But it's for people to bring up those petitions before the Senate.
Oh, okay. Mazio Korafo, thank you for holding on. Go ahead now, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess.
Good morning. Good morning,
I thank God for the new ambassadorial list. But sometimes when I see that, I start asking Nigeria, when the ambassadorial list did not come out, people were complaining. And Nigeria, after 2 years, I see most no ambassador. Now the list has come, cleared by the DSS, cleared by police, cleared by all the agencies. Now for them to be sworn in so that they try to work now, people are coming with us. Well, the way I see it, I have been saying it, there is no movement, no matter on earth that people will not decide. That is it. So what I would say to the federal government, adopt it with good faith. That is it. I would say to them, allow those people that have been appointed, let them go and do their job. It is when you see that they are not performing, you cannot say, hey, look, these people in that guy, why not? Because there was an incident somewhere, when the rest of the time, so looking for people to go. I said, look, what happened to the next person in command? They said the next person in command, I said, look, give that person another 1 year or 2 years. At the end of the day, the people interviewed, they are down to accept the person. What the person is doing well. So Nigeria should stop this issue. When they sue for criticism, the country continues. but
Indeed.
bring constructive criticism, not haywire criticism. Good morning, Mazu Fernandez.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okoroafo. Now, Ken, I'm
think-
sure you
I
would have
think Uncle
noted.
Yori-
I think
Uncle
you would have
Yori-
noted the former
I don't know.
ambassador. Hello, one moment, please. I'm sure you would have noted the former ambassador of Nigeria to the Holy See, Ambassador Paul Oga Adiku, who is from Benue State. He's also on the list.
But that's also someone that is highly qualified.
Indeed.
For the position.
Of course. So that is the point
that shows. That's why I said when I heard the notion of the good, the bad, and the ugly, I found it very interesting because I remember that movie.
People are just
You
using
understand?
cliche.
That is how someone actually, characterized the list. But I wanted to say something. How come you have not given Mazi Okoroafo an award on this show? I wonder how many times I've appeared here that he has not been able to call through. He's such an interesting person.
Exactly. Mazi is one of a whole bunch of people that call every day unless they are out of town. Unless they are road traveling.
TVC should start giving him an honorarium. Don't mind me. So, having said that, I think the truth about it, Uncle Yori, is that when you sit on the driver's seat, you always be criticized. You'll be ready for the criticism. The handlers of the president should be the ones to be able to do this work for him. They should be able to tell Nigerians that, look, it is because of those certain reasons this president has taken these decisions. They owe it to Nigerians. That is why they are his handlers. That's why they are his communication advisors. They are his strategists. They are his special advisors of media and so forth and so on. Because if this is the age of social media, internet never forgets, you understand? And so they will always bring up things that have been said in the past, things that you have just said recently, and they always make a comparison. And they always want to take you on such. But that having said that, I think the president should quickly release the other names so that before Easter, he would have filled up the whole 109 ambassadorial. But like you rightly said, Uncle Yori, maybe there is no money. You said there is no money.
Because
nobody
I'm sure.
knows.
Maybe. Because in these times, it just might well be. But then again, you can understand that, after all, what is the work of an ambassador? He is supposed to be our man over there. Our man in wherever.
Yeah, so if maybe one permanent, one representative or one high commissioner is doing the work, you now ask yourself, why can't I continue like this and save this money? It's actually true too, you understand? And that person, there are some permanent secretaries that perform more than ministers. I'm sure you know that. So you ask yourself, why am I in a hurry to appoint ministers now, although it's a requirement of the Constitution, where I can, continue this permanent secretary and save the government some funds. So such thinking can also be in the offing. But the agitation is there. The people are available. The states want to be represented. Since some states are already feeling shortchanged, even when there are almost 74 names yet to go, I think the president should please help us, bring out, such nominations so that the criticism will also come. They will go through screening, and we can also, jump this one past, as they say in pidgin language.
Yes, but the thing that I noted in all of this, you've mentioned it yourself, is the attitude, the kind of person that President Tinubu is. When you look at people that, have actually benefited from his administration and his own largesse personally, these are people who actually, in the past, and not very distant past, used to, be anything but complimentary. Let me just put it like that about him. Yet, whatever it is that the president was looking at, it speaks to the character of the man. Even internally, there are people who are working. I remember one particular spokesperson for the president. He came over very, very heavy weather when he was appointed as a spokesperson for the president. Everybody was just, they invited him, but he went. He himself, he stood his ground, he went. And I think the point he was making was that, well, that was then and this is now. at the end of the day, and you are the person who brought Saul into it this early Monday morning, you know. So, and the road to Damascus and all of that.
I said I wasn't comparing Saul
I know.
to anybody. Remember, I put that caveat in, so.
I know, but I think it's a good one. I think it's a nice one. A lot of people, nobody can doubt that people in here, at least those ones that are known to us, these are people of competence. They are competent to be in that job. You have also noted some other people that are qualified to be in the job, and then there are many, many more to come. What we're talking about 35 now, a bit, yeah, 3 plus 32. We're talking about 35 now, and
that's 35. So
yes.
104 to 74. Sorry, to go to make it 109.
To make it 109 countries where we have representation. Okay, well, you know, I was going to say that there's no need for us to say too much more about this. We just have to wait on the Senate president, unless, you know, unless one was to just refresh people's minds with, you know, the people. The non-career ambassador designates Barrister Ogbonaya Kalu from Abia, a former presidential aide, Reno Omokri, Delta, former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, and former Ekiti First Lady Erelu Angela Adebayo, and former Enugu Governor Ifeanyi Uguwani. There's also Tasiu Musa Maigeri, the former Speaker of the Katsina House of Assembly, Yakubu N. Gambo, a former commissioner in Plateau State and former Deputy Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC. So it just goes to show you, that was just by. So as I was saying, now these people have come now. What are they doing? You know, so sorry about that. But Ken, okay.
Yes,
so,
I can hear you.
Yes, I was just, you know, making up the time by, you know, these are eminently qualified people, but we wait to hear from the Senate. It is when the Senate comes in on the matter and pronounces that approved, then we know that we're in business. If the Senate has any problem, it probably will ask for a replacement, a reconsideration and replacement. So we're going to have to leave it here for now, but thank you very much. Unless you wanted to add anything, do go ahead, please.
No, I think we've dealt with all of it. The Nigerians should just learn to be patient, and the ones that have issues, it's not enough to just remain on the social media to ventilate. Put those facts that you have and send those petitions to the Senate, who are in charge of screening and approving their nomination. And if they are credible, I believe the Senate will treat it, and such nominees will be rejected. It's not just for you to be ventilating on social media. Some of them should put their money where their mouth belongs. Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure, always. So you said the rest of them, you want the president to name all of them by Easter, right?
I hope so, at least before Easter.
Let's see how that goes. Thank you very much, Ken Okolubo.
Or do you want to nominate? Do you want to lobby for me, Uncle Yori?
Which one is my own inside? I just ask the questions and listen to the responses. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Really do appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Uncle Yori.
All right.
It's always my pleasure.
Okay then. So that's our program today. We have to make room for them in the Abuja studio, and coming up from there is going to be what? At the top of the hour at noon, news from there. In the meanwhile, you know, I'll just quit the stage and see you tomorrow, God willing, with a fresh edition of the program.